Hello, everyone, and good morning to you. This is a podcast on the sidelines of the third International Climate Summit in Delhi at the Vigyan Bhavan. The program is initiated by PhD Chamber of Commerce. With me, I have a very interesting guest from Japan, Mr. Tanaka, who's currently the chair for the steering committee of innovation for Cool Earth Forum, and he is also the executive director, Emeritus, International Energy Agency. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure, sir. Sir, in this podcast, given your experience, given your global expertise, as well as coming out of India, coming from Japan, you would have seen the entire sector evolve very differently. Climate change crisis is staring at all of us. It's a war cry for everybody here. Would love to get your views from a global perspective, sir.
Thank you. Yes, when I was executive director of the International Energy Agency, IEA, in Paris, I visited India several times. IEA was created in 1974 at the first oil shock, and providing the countries of energy security by the strategic stockpile of oil was the mission of the IEA. And certainly the demand for oil has been declining in the OECD countries, in the developed economies, while demand for energy, including oil, certainly increased dramatically in the emerging economies like China, India, and ASEAN countries. So energy, when we think about energy security, Henry Kissinger, who is the founder of the IEA, told me that, Mr. Tanaka, when you get the executive directorship of the IEA, you have to get China and India into the IEA. It's because the India and China will be the bigger importer of oil relative to all OECD countries together. So without collaboration with India and China, there's no energy security possible. So if IEA wants to be relevant, certainly to get India and IEA as a full member, India and China as a full member, that is the reason why I visited India so many times. Now, energy crisis is in a global sense, and not only the oil, but gas, coal, electricity, everything is now under the pressure of the war in Ukraine by Russia. So we are facing the real challenge of energy security now. India is not the exception. Of course, all the other part of the world are under the same pressure. But this is not only the issue. The coming issue is the climate change mitigation. So how can we really make our economy to the carbon-free or greener society is a mission for everybody. And this is a kind of multiple crisis of energy security and climate change mitigation. There are many winners and losers in this game. Russia will be the loser because they are losing the investment from abroad, technology is moving away, they have to spend huge amount of war expenses, and brain drain is happening. Europe is trying to make it a winner by the investment in the green sector. In the United States, under the Inflation Reduction Act, US is making a huge contribution to the greener economy. So US will be winner. How can Japan be a winner? How can India become a winner? So this is a challenge for everybody. And green hydrogen or renewable energy technologies, these are the key elements for countries to be a winner.
Sir, that's wonderful. Sir, I would like to know your views about the Prime Minister of the country, Mr. Narendra Modi, announcing zero carbon, mission by 2070. From a global perspective, how do you see that panning out in India?
I think Prime Minister Modi's commitment for making India carbon neutral by 2070 is a very good contribution of India to the global process. China committed to be carbon neutral by 2060, and other major economies like Europe, Japan, Korea, US are aiming at 2050. So having a target like that is a very important element of carbon neutrality toward the future. But the challenge is still there because carbon neutral is a really challenging issue, and Prime Minister Modi's commitment certainly must have an action to make it happen. So renewable energy, India is a very much potential of the renewable energy. Solar and winds are everywhere. So how to use to the full extent of these renewable sources is the key element for making the commitment in the reality. So, and hydrogen will help. The green hydrogen from renewables and blue hydrogen of using CCS, these are the technologies which makes India as a greener economy and carbon free in the future. So I believe that technology must happen here, and the developed economy must help India to make the carbon neutral, and also financing should happen. Otherwise, action cannot happen. So this is a way for India to be a winner in this global energy and climate crisis.
Very, very valuable insights there, sir. So my next question to you is really about, the challenges and opportunities that you see for the rollout of green hydrogen mission in India. And, how does your vision and your firm contribute to these opportunities or the challenges that we may face?
Yes, thank you very much. This is a very good question. As I said, the key element to be a winner in this global energy and climate crisis, the hydrogen is the one. To make the hydrogen less expensive and to make it available for the industries or transportation sector, I think international collaboration is very important. Japan has started hydrogen as a source for clean fuel in the future when the Toyota's Mirai, the fuel cell vehicle, is on the road in 2014. Japan is trying very hard to establish the hydrogen refueling station in Japan and making this hydrogen fuel cell vehicle as a possibility for the future. But because of the lack of expansion in the refueling station, and that makes the deployment of fuel cell vehicle a little bit difficult. So this chicken and egg situation cannot really make the full use of hydrogen in these decades. Meanwhile, China comes in with fuel cell vehicle for trucks and buses. Europe is trying to use it more for the industrial purposes, and repower EU more independent of Russian policy makes Europe more serious about hydrogen. And then come the United States. This Inflation Reduction Act is a very important element of CCS subsidy or hydrogen infrastructure or electric vehicle deployment. So the US is now surpassing the Japan and Europe as such, and Japan is lagged behind. So I am saying in Japan that we have to go more than the transportation, but to the industrial application. Steel mills or cement industry should do more of using the clean hydrogen for the future. And for that, transportation and storage technology, which Japan has some meaning. Japanese company JERA, it's a consortium of Tokyo Electric and Chubu Electric, is try to use green or clean hydrogen for reducing carbon emission in the thermal power plant, co-firing coal with clean ammonia is what they are trying to do. So using clean ammonia is the way to maintain the thermal power capacity, which could be a very good backup to the very much volatile renewables. and gradually reducing carbon emission in the thermal power sector. So this kind of gradual approach for the carbon neutral is a very good model for other Asian economies, including India. So green hydrogen, green ammonia, these are the key elements of the transformation of Indian coal industry toward more cleaner energy future there. So I wish that India will invest and take very seriously of this hydrogen business to decarbonization of the total industry as well as the transportation sector, learning from the experiment which Japan did in these years.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the experience and wisdom that you have from implementing these kind of initiatives in Japan will be priceless for the Indian policymakers and the industry. So my last question to you is about job creation. For a country like India, job creation is at the center of any socio-economic conversation. According to you, how many jobs will be created in the next 5 to 7 years, and approximately, what is the kind of talent pool that India will need to create in terms of training, skill, and development for this particular sector, which is completely unknown to the Indian economy. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Job creation is a very important element for any country because the current situation is that more competition among countries is a key element for energy security and sustainability. So green industrial policy is everywhere. That is creating more jobs and opportunities in their countries. I think India is no exception. By using the renewable energy sources or making it into the hydrogen business or green ammonia, these industries and technologies are very good way to make a greener jobs here. And certainly for that, we need to develop kind of methodology or economic policy for that, and inviting international or foreign investment into India. Because the cost of renewables or cost of hydrogen is a key element for the competitiveness of the industry. And if Japanese steel mills cannot find a very cheap and clean hydrogen for the future reduction of the iron ore in Japan, they may think about investing abroad where the abundant renewable energy is there, or clean hydrogen could be very competitive. So India can attract the foreign investments to here by using abundant renewable energy as well as hydrogen transformation. So this will create jobs and opportunities for India toward the future economy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful insights. I'm sure the Indian policymakers and the entire energy sector would really benefit from these words of wisdom. Enjoy your day at the International Climate Summit. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.